What's up, everybody? Troy Cartwright here. Welcome back to another episode of 10 Year Town. Before we get started, we are dropping the 10 Year Town Book Club episode 1 very, very soon. We want you guys to be a part of this, so make sure you are signed up for the 10 Year Town community at 10yeartown.com. Y'all be the first to know when we drop this thing, and we're excited to go over Rick Rubin's The Creative Act, A Way of Being. Hope y'all love it, and we'll get it to you guys soon. Thanks. Today's guest is Ashley Ray. Ashley Ray is a singer and songwriter originally from Lawrence, Kansas. She just signed a new publishing deal with Karen Fairchild of Little Big Town fame. She also recently just put out a new record called Animal. There's a song on there called Break My Heart featuring Ruston Kelly that I really, really like. In this episode, we talk about making records with Jay Joyce, the joys of being on the road, a lot about the journey in general, and I know you guys are going to love this episode. So without further ado, here she is, Ashley Ray. Well, I always start this thing off with the same question, which is, how long have you been in town?
I might be the longest person.
No chance.
I moved to town in 2002.
Yeah,
so
Billy Montana's got you beat. So
does he?
Don't worry.
Yeah. I feel like he's from here. No.
No.
Wow.
He's from upstate New York.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. 21 years.
Wow.
Nuts.
That's crazy.
It's the thing where you don't know where you're from anymore because I've lived here longer than where.
Right.
Yeah.
Where are you from originally? Is it
Kansas?
Yeah, I was going to say Kansas.
Yeah.
What part of Kansas?
Lawrence.
Is that?
Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Yeah. But which part of the state is that in?
We're about a little under an hour from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
So like the northeast part
Gotcha.
of the state. There are some hills there.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's not the flattest part of Kansas.
I feel like I spent a lot of time in Kansas.
You've probably played in Lawrence, I would think.
I don't think I have. I know that I was out this year with an artist, Logan Mize from Kansas.
Yes, I love Logan.
We did Wichita.
Yeah.
We did Manhattan.
Yep.
Kansas City. But yeah, I don't think we got up there.
Where did you play in Kansas City?
Honestly, I don't even remember. It was like a big shed type room. It was downtown.
As you do in Kansas.
Yeah. I mean, it was a really cool spot. It was a well-run venue, and they had laundry and stuff. So you're like, it was a legit venue.
Yeah.
A lot nicer than some of the places I play.
Oh yeah. You walk in and if there's a washing machine and a shower, you're like, this place rules.
There was like 3, dressing rooms.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So they knew what they were doing.
Yeah. That'll
So 21 years. Wow. How did you get here? Like did you come here for school or?
Yeah, I came here for school. I went to Belmont. And I kind of just thought that would phase out. I kind of just thought I would start there.
Yeah.
And then I ended up finishing all 4 years and getting my degree.
What was the degree in?
Music business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Expensive piece of toilet paper. That's how
seriously.
I feel about mine.
I'm like, do my daughters want to go to college? Because I'll still be paying my loans when I start paying theirs.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. It's my path and I don't regret it. And when I don't write physical checks, but when I pay my student loans, I'm like, okay, just think of, my experiences and my best friends that I met. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all in the pie somewhere. You know? What did you do? Like when you, I guess you did some internships and stuff during college, and what were you doing after college? Like for were you starting to play music at that point or?
Yeah, I was already doing writers' nights. I kind of tried to plug myself in pretty fast as I would write with, I met a woman down on Broadway and she's still in a band. I think they're out on like cruise ship tours now. And I know, like living the life.
Yeah.
But I would go write with her and then I'd go stay in my dorm room. And then the next night I would go do a writer's night. And then I'd go stay in my dorm room. It's just, I was at school sometimes.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew I wanted to be in the music business, so I plugged myself in pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then how I feel like everything started to get rolling for me as an artist was I was supposed to write a paper for Belmont for Music Business 101.
Okay.
And we were supposed to go in and interview someone in the field that we wanted. So I wanted to interview Leanne Womack because she's one of the best singers of all time and one of my favorites. And she was on tour, of course. But her manager reached out to me, a manager at the time, and said, interview me. You know, if you have questions about her, maybe I can answer them for you. And he ended up being like a mentor to me and then eventually managing me from the time I was like 18 or 19 to like 28.
Wow.
So I got my first publishing deal there. And
where was that publishing deal at?
It was at Sony Tree.
Yeah.
With Arturo Buenahora.
Of course.
Yes. Yeah. And we laugh because he signed me 3 different times. Really? Which that doesn't happen, you know, in Nashville.
That's so
I don't
crazy.
feel like.
Yeah.
Arthur and I go way back, and he gave me my first publishing deal, and I'm super grateful. And he just has the best taste, you know.
That's what he's known for.
Yeah. Introduced me to Jay Joyce.
Wow. Were you like playing shows at this point and like traveling around? Like what was your, like I kind of know your story, but I don't know like that much about, I was like driving in, I was like, man, I'm really curious about some stuff. So I feel like you've just had an epic journey.
Well, we've written, but we've we've actually written songs. We haven't.
Yeah. Talked about life.
About life.
The journey.
The journey.
Because, okay, let me set this up. So the first time that we wrote, I believe it was over at Big Deal.
Yes.
With Ben Goldsmith.
Yes.
And I just remember, I think you just had a giant, like you were in a van.
Oh yeah, I drove the van here today.
Oh, you did?
I'm still in the van. We also have a RAV4, like a much smaller car that the children ride in.
Yeah.
But I'm going to drive the van until it falls apart. And
okay, so, but to me, I'm like, oh, she just like rolled in here straight off the road into this right.
I probably did.
Is that like, this is a van that you've just toured a bunch in? And you just, I mean, they're great to drive. I've got one too.
You know, it's the best car I've ever owned, honestly. I had like I had a sporty little Mitsubishi Eclipse when I moved to town, and it was just this little red Bullet, and I could weave in and out of traffic, which I can't do that in the van. And it's, to be honest, it wasn't as good as the van. Like, I mean, the van's kind of freaky sometimes to look at. Like, it's kind of looks like there's been a lot of
some shady activity going on.
It's got cages in the back, but it had a band before me owned it, and they used to play in a lot of like rougher areas, bigger cities, and they got tired of their gear being stolen.
Yeah, so they caged it in.
So they caged it in. So it's not beautiful to look at, but it's the best car, honestly, I've ever owned.
Yeah. But I guess the reason I ask you that is like, how did that? Obviously, you own this van when we started. That was probably 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But like, what were you? Are you on the road a lot? Like, were you on the road a lot? Like, what's the?
I feel like I've been on the road my whole life.
Yeah.
Recently, in the past couple of years, we've taken out a smaller car, or rented, or hopped on a bus. This year, I'm feeling like the van is nearing the end. She pretty much stays in town with me.
Gotcha. Yeah, you don't trust it on
I don't really trust her.
Yeah.
But she's creeping up on over like maybe 250. But yeah, I've been on the road for as long as I can remember. I used to have my manager rent the car or the van for me because you had to be 25, and I was 19. And I just kind of started off going to play shows down in Georgia, opening for like Luke Bryan or anyone really, Eric Church, and just kind of hitting the road just weekends.
Yeah.
And then fast forward maybe 10 years, I did go down to Texas and stay there for maybe a year or so. Released a single down there, crashed on couches, kind of rented out my apartment here. And yeah, I love the road. I'm one of those people that I'll never not love it.
Yeah.
It's hard, and I love that about it.
Yeah.
You know.
I do.
Yeah. We're crazy.
I love it out there, and I wonder often, I'm like, am I running away from something out here? Like, it's so, to me, what I love about being on the road is your only job that day. You know, you wake up in Omaha, you got to get to St. Louis. So you wake up, you know, eat some breakfast, get a big coffee, drive to St. Louis. You're in St. Louis, load in, sound check, eat some food, drink a beer, play a show, and then you did it. That's the day. There's this sense of accomplishment is so simple.
Yeah.
You know, whereas like all this other stuff, writing songs,
right,
being an artist, there's like, what is the finish line?
Yeah.
There isn't one.
You're right.
Not really.
It's the road dog. Like that's the real, to me, that feels the most real.
Yeah.
People say, or, you know, aren't you tired out there? And I'm like, yeah, but there's this underlying energy that I've had the best conversations with my band guys on the road.
Yeah.
We've had the best laughs, best times. You know, it's even when it's a hard day or like the club doesn't want to pay you or whatever that is.
Yeah.
It's still, you do so much, like drive hours to be on stage for 45 minutes. And it's just the coolest thing, you know?
Yeah. So like when you first started out, like how many shows were you playing a year?
I actually was wondering that the other day when Lainey Wilson won Entertainer of the Year. My gosh, congrats to her.
Yeah.
Deserved. And she said 180 dates. I never played 180 dates. That feels like you're sleeping in your bed, maybe like.
I mean, way less than half.
Way less than half. That is just wild to me. So I was probably doing, a little less than 100, maybe 100.
Yeah. And were these like mostly opening shows for whoever? And
yeah, they were opening, a little bit of both. Like, you know, we'd go, everything. A little bit of everything. I would open a show for, you know, Miranda Lambert, and then her tour would go somewhere else, and we'd stay and play the venue, you know, in the next town. And so a little bit of everything, honestly, or grocery stores, just like everything, truly.
Everything.
Yeah.
Did you have like an agent like helping you out with all this stuff, or like what was the?
Yeah, I did. Thank goodness, because I currently don't have an agent. I am my own agent at this point, and
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. There's a reason why the workload is split.
Yeah,
you know, manager.
Spread out.
Yeah, it's you can spend all day on trying to confirm a show or trying to advance something, and so yeah, I did at the time. I did have an agent.
Yeah,
just nuts. I think about it, and I think about this year. I had a baby in January, and we were out on the road in March or April.
Wow.
With both girls and my husband, Joe. And
it's crazy.
Yeah. To think back, because now, there's no way she'd be quiet side stage. Like, she could be side stage, and our daughter River could push her around, and now she'd be wild.
Yeah.
She is a little bit harder to tame.
Yeah. Well, I feel like there's just so much that we're skipping over that's like happened in all that time. Like, I know that this journey is long, and there's ups and downs and stuff like that. It sounds like you're playing all these shows with like Like Brian and Miranda and all this crazy stuff. Like,
Yeah.
like tell me, I don't know. I don't know that much about that part of your journey. So,
Well, the next chapter would be I signed to Capitol Records around that time when I was on tour with them, and started working with Jay Joyce, and just thought we could make any record that we wanted to, and we did. And Capitol, I think we scared them a little bit. And, you know, the journey has been and still is, it's hard for a woman to be on the radio. So that was happening long ago in my 20s.
Yeah.
And so I ended up leaving Capitol, signed to a smaller label called Universal South. That label folded into Toby Keith's label.
yeah.
Which I'm not sure if that's still Show Dog.
I think it is.
I think it is too, but I wasn't sure. And then once that folded, I was like, I'm done. I'm going to try to do this myself. I also started waiting tables again because I was stuck in a deal. I don't think the 360 deals exist anymore.
I don't know. I think they might.
Really?
I think so.
Well, it was a really crappy deal.
Gotcha.
Always, don't sign a crappy deal ever. And so I started waiting tables, and I didn't know what my next move was. I knew I wasn't done writing songs, but I thought, maybe I could be fine with not being an artist. And I'll write for other people. And then the next thing I knew, I started writing a record with one of my best friends, Sean McConnell, and we wrote a record called Pauline. And some people started getting a hold of it, and Daniel Lee at BMG, he was at BMG at the time, he heard it, and he basically offered me a deal the next, a songwriting deal the next week, and so I'm back in the game.
Yeah.
And that was in 2017, I think.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's been uphill, downhill, and every time I think about giving up, or are the lights going to get turned off, or that part of the artistry is very real. Every time that happens, there's something else that I call it fuel. It's like gives me a little bit of just enough to keep going, and I do feel like this time around, I learned so much during the time where I wasn't in the music industry per se, where I was just living life, bartending, waiting tables, that I just feel like that was like a turning point. That was like, there's a before and an after me. And this one is much more comfortable than her skin, much more, comfortable in a writing room.
Yeah.
So that was 2017. And then Sean and I went in and started writing a record again that I didn't know. We don't really know that we're writing a record per se. We're just kind of writing about life. And I was going through a divorce at the time, and also very shortly after falling in love with a man and his daughter. And that part of my life that I never thought, or I thought might not happen, becoming a mom, was happening, and in a much different way than I thought.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways more beautiful. And so that's this record, Animal, that we released November 17th.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Wow. That was my journey.
Yeah.
It's
pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. It's like 5 or 6 minutes condensed down. I love the record. I was listening last night to, what's the song that's featuring Ruston?
Oh, Break My Heart.
God, so good.
Thank you.
So good. Did y'all write that together, or?
No, Sean and I did.
That's right. I did. I hit the credits. And by the way, love Sean.
He's the best.
He took me on tour early on, back in like 2016, probably.
Yeah.
And he's just so talented.
That'd be a great show.
Guy.
I'd buy a ticket to that show.
He's one of the good ones for sure.
He really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you? I guess you and Ruston just know each other from life.
Yeah, from life,
from the journey.
Yeah, from the journey. We actually met. He's one of my husband's best friends, but we met. We were just talking about this weekend. We met in like 2011, and he was writing and sort of living from couch to couch, and God, such an amazing like story and person and artist. And so when Sean and I wrote "Break My Heart," I just kept hearing Ruston's voice, and I just kept saying, Ruston's gonna like this song. I don't know. I'm just gonna send it to him, and he ended up loving it. And I asked him if he would sing harmonies, and then he came in, and I'm like, dude, will you be a feature? This is like a duet.
Yeah.
And he did, and his voice is just the character in it, like unmistakably him.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
So
when you talk about characters, right? Like we're all filling a persona on some level. Like, let me give you an example. I have like a character that I think of, a version of me for this record that I've been working on forever. And I don't know if it'll ever come out, but like, I know who that guy is. It's me, but
right.
it's an offshoot of me.
I love that.
And it was something I read actually. It was Taylor Swift's, I forget where she got some honor, and it was at the Ryman.
Okay.
And she's like, oh, I have like 3 voices that I use. It's like fountain pen, gel pen, and something else. She talks about the different types of, lyrics she writes and how she uses, like, I'm sure not actually, but
right.
They're different voices, they're different characters or whatever for different songs. And when I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, that's so freeing to me to get to like choose, okay, this song is for this guy.
I love that.
And so that's kind of a long-winded way of me asking you, like, when you're making these records, like, are you feeling like they're inhabiting a certain version of you, or do you feel like it's just like, this is me, this is my life?
That's, first of all, brilliant all around that you think of. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Does he look like you? Is it
this version of me is just really,
you don't have to share.
No, I don't care.
It, but
I like no, it's like a guy.
Cool.
It's like a dusty troubadour. He's in like a Canadian tuxedo. He's hungover, sitting in the corner of a bar. Like, I know exactly who he is, and like, I don't feel like I've like done him justice yet.
That's cool.
I don't know, but I'm always like, I think because I love to read. I love like sci-fi. I love like world building stuff. I'm like, one day I would like to make something where I can like create a whole world for the character to live in and have the songs to support it. And like, I don't really know how to do that yet. Like, I don't know how to build that reality. I don't know what the supporting parts are, right? Like how to make the visuals, how to do all that. So I might be an old man by the time I figure it out.
I think that is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to be thinking about that one for a while. That one's going to stay with me.
I literally think it might take me like another 10 or 15 years. Like I don't know how to do it.
You're right though. It is so freeing to think of that, because the us here and now that has been through everything with our art, to me, when you're embracing that character, it's like perspective in a way.
Well, it allows me to get out of my own way.
Yeah.
Because I'm writing all the time right in front of me.
Yeah.
And I'm writing whatever heartbreak song. I'm pulling from some heartbreaks that I've had.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice to zoom out and go, what would this guy say? How would this guy handle that situation? So like, it's me, but it's not. It's like,
that's cool.
It's like slight parallel universe.
I love that.
Couple different decisions made 5 years ago that got him to a different place than where I'm at. And
You are onto something.
what would that character say,
That's cool.
But yeah, like I don't know. And I one of the things I like about your records, like from like a even like a visual standpoint, like I just feel like it has such a strong like point of view. And I know you like from the writer room.
Yeah.
So like I just think it's, do you think about that, like inhabiting a certain character or whatever? Does that make sense?
It totally does. I mean, I've never thought of that before. And now, I mean, like you, I like to read. There's multiple characters in every book that I read. My favorite thing to read is memoir. I love that. So I guess what I do that's sort of like that is if I'm going in with an artist and I know I'm writing for them, there is it's a feeling. It's a gut, instinctual thing, like with an idea, like a song idea or a half a song or a lyric or whatever line that I'm bringing in, that I guess I know myself so well, and the point of view, like you said, is so strong that I have those ideas and they are completely separate than when I go in and write with someone else.
Yeah.
So in a way that does feel like a character, like I am the character of my own story, I guess.
Yeah, well, of course you are. And I mean, that's what I mean. Like when I look at like, it's Pauline, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like you got the roller and the thing. It's like, is that based on like you?
Yeah.
Or is it like sort of you? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like doing a really bad job of asking the question.
So Pauline is my middle name, and I'm named after my grandmother, my mom's mom, who she passed away a couple years before I was born. And, we've lost a lot of people like in my family, and a way that we keep them around is we talk about them. Every single time we're together, we talk about them, all of them. And
that's really special. Yeah.
And I remember standing doing dishes one Thanksgiving at my grandfather's house, and he said, "Munchkin, you're standing like your grandmother would stand." And I didn't realize it, but I was standing on one leg and just was resting my foot on the inside of my opposite leg. So like a flamingo, I guess, or
a crane or something.
Yeah, like that. And I mean, I had stood like that 100 times and never thought about it. It's just something that I did, and apparently it's something she did as well. And I think about how she drank that well water. Like, and we, even though she's gone, we all still drink it.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the lines in a song called Waiting that's on the album Pauline. We got stubborn in the water where I come from. And I kind of let that line live in every song, even in a different way, because it was a way for me to keep going, like we have stubborn in the water where I come from. Like, I'm not giving up. And so, the curler picture, that came from a photo of my mom, her holding a catfish that my grandfather had caught from a pond. And she was in her PJs, a PJ set, and her brothers were all there. And it was, I think, the night before Easter, so that we always did curlers in our hair before Easter, and they did too. And so that's where that was inspired. And, my grandmother smoked like a chimney. And so the cigarette there was for her. And it's so funny. I get lots of, "You don't smoke, do you?" And I'm like, "No, it was the character. It was for that, for my grandmother." So in a way, I do see what you're saying about embracing that person. So that was super easy for that record, because all I did was tell stories of my family and people I love. And then Animal was just talking about myself, which is harder.
Oh, way harder.
Way harder.
Impossible.
Yeah.
People always say, be yourself.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing in the world.
It really is.
We don't know. We got so much stuff, so much distraction. Like being myself is like, it's really hard. I've had so many, people on the way, like just people at labels or managers, like, just gotta be yourself. And you're like, yeah, man, I'm trying.
Yeah.
But you guys are all telling me
Right.
to be
Right.
something.
Right.
And I don't even know, in order to find that, like, you have to develop some sort of firewall to keep all of the stuff out. I feel like all of the artists that I admire that are really standing the test of time, right? Like your Eric Church or your Chris Stapleton or Miranda Lambert. It's like another great example. It's like somehow they were able to stay true, to be themselves.
Yeah.
Like I don't always know like how to do that. Like I get it real in my head about it, almost overthinking the thing.
I totally get that. I've been in a room with you a few times and we've written for you every time, and I would just beg to differ. I feel like you are totally an artist, like that. There are a lot of people in this town that have less individuality, maybe, and you are not one of them.
Well, and I guess that's sort of like what I'm trying to get at too. Is it's like it's really hard. Sometimes you actually are being yourself, and you're still being so hard on yourself.
Oh yeah,
it's like just a really intense version of like imposter syndrome. This whole thing's an absolute mind F,
It really is. Where I feel like, and I have to constantly remind myself of this, where I feel like I just be myself. I don't hear the chatter of the music industry. I don't, and that's the road. Mm-hmm. The second I'm out driving out of town, it's like.
We were just going I think we were doing, like Omaha, Nebraska or something. And my guitar player was like, why do you always insist on driving? And because I probably drive 70% of the time. And I was like, man, because when I'm driving, nobody can bother me. Mm-hmm. That's why when I travel, like my wife and I just went to Japan, I love that no one can reach me, that my phone doesn't even work. Like I have no distraction from like, it's just my mind wanders. It's like vacation. Being on the road is like a form of vacation for me. It's like mental vacation.
Yeah, because you're checked into what you're doing. Like in the moment, real time.
It's pretty sick.
Pretty sick.
So you are about to, or I guess you just did, or you're signing a new deal.
Yes.
I can't remember if it already happened or is about to happen or.
It already happened.
Okay.
We signed, I can't believe these words when they come out of my mouth. It's a dream that you dream, but can't dream up.
Yeah.
I am signed a deal with Warner Chappell, and Karen Fairchild from Little Big Town.
Yeah. Have y'all known each other for a long time or?
Yeah, we have. But we just started writing together in the past few years.
Oh, wow.
We wrote a song. I had just finished Pauline, or we were finishing it up, and she just kept popping into my mind again, kind of like Ruston did with Break My Heart. And I said, Sean, have you ever written with Karen Fairchild? And I think he had.
Yeah.
And I just emailed her. I knew her at the time. I had her email, but we weren't super close. I knew that she was one of the kindest people I'd ever met and the most talented. And I emailed her and I said, hey, there's some like cool magic happening. Like I can't take credit for it. It's just like in Sean's studio. The music shows up every day, and would you ever want to come in and write with us? And she emailed back like the same day, and she's like, I'd love to. And we wrote a song, the three of us, before the pandemic called Before the World Went Crazy. And then we wrote a song called The Daughters that Little Big Town recorded, and it's
such a great song.
thank you. It was inspired by her. There was an award that they were getting. I think it was like a CMT award. I can't really remember, but her and Kimberly got up, or maybe Women in Country Music. I can't remember, but they got up to receive this award, and instead of thanking everybody for, talking about themselves, and they just named every unsigned female in Nashville that was working really, really hard. And that was a turning point for me. That was like, okay, that's a new goal for me. I want to help people.
Yeah.
I know how it feels to want to pack your car up and leave this town. And moments like that, if I can help, I don't care, just help someone stay in town to continue on.
To survive a little longer.
Yeah. Just a little bit of that fuel that I get sometimes. That's what I want to do. And I wasn't even one of the names that Karen said. It just inspired me so much. And so that's how the Daughters happened. That's how the idea happened. And it's just, I feel really grateful that idea came in the room that day.
Yeah.
So anyways, Karen and I started writing more, and I was out of a deal, and she had mentioned before that she wanted to start a publishing company and wanted to sign me. And so finally I went back to her and I said, this is our chance. Like, do you still want to do that? And she's like, let's make it happen. And she is a woman of her word.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, truly one of my earth angels. This woman has just made so many of my dreams come true.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are signed at Warner Chappell.
That's awesome.
Lady Fairchild, Warner Chappell. And my publishing company's name is Burnt Topeka Sally. Because that is my drunk alter ego.
I love it. That's great.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
I guess this record came out, Animal, like a month or two ago?
Yeah.
Are you, I know that your life's a little bit different now with family and kids and stuff. Are you gonna, do you have any big, road plans or?
I have road dreams.
Road dreams. I have those too.
I do want to write more next year.
Yeah.
I did take a lot of this year off to be with the girls and be a mom. And now that we have an amazing sitter that we love and we're in a flow state there, I do want to write more.
Yeah.
I also want to put the girls in an RV and get on the road again.
Yeah.
And every time I release a record, it's all been, as an independent artist, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But as soon as it's over, releasing that record, you just want to do it again.
Yeah.
And I just want to do it again. I want to write. I want to be creative. I want to read. I only read 2 books this year. I normally read 2 books
a week.
Yeah, a lot of books.
Yeah.
So I just want to kind of fill the well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
feel that.
part of that is getting on the road again. So
Well, and you're living, there's a lot of ways to fill the well, and you're doing a lot of life stuff.
yeah.
That's probably filling your well pretty good,
Oh,
in
yeah.
ways that you can't even
Man.
imagine.
Oh man. I mean, the girls just say, they just are poetry.
Yeah.
They just say the most poetic, innocent things. And I'm like, hold on a second, let mama write that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it all looks a little different, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see.
Yeah. I'm always inspired by people's ability to I don't know, it sounds so arduous, but persevere and go through just I've been signed and dropped and kicked around and done all this stuff. I know whenever you're talking about releasing a record independently or whatever, it's I know. I know what you're saying. It's brutal.
It's brutal.
And there's all these times where it's like, would I just feel like relief if I could just stop all of this madness and just go, I don't know, work in a cubicle somewhere. But like you said, there's always a little bit of magic somewhere.
Something happens every time. Every time my brain goes that way.
I think it's fate. I think it's fate stepping in and just saying like, that's not where you should go.
It's not time.
Yeah. And I mean, hopefully it's never time. I don't know. And maybe one day it will be time.
Right. We don't know.
But not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
I will say I'm glad that I didn't quit a lot of the times that I thought I'm just getting out of here.
Yeah.
Because sitting here with you and talking about our stories, some pretty cool things have happened.
Yeah.
And releasing independently is just, at least we get to do what we love and be ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, we're not, I could never, sometimes people ask me, would you rather be an artist or a songwriter? Like, first of all, I'm like, why do we have to choose?
Yeah.
And second, I'm like, if I had to choose, it's the writing. That's part of why we're here, is to tell our story and document it.
I mean, to me, like, all of my artistry is stemmed from writing songs and being like, well, I got to get these out.
Yeah.
The people need to hear them.
They need to hear them.
You know? And that's what I love about getting to be a songwriter in Nashville, is like, sometimes, you know, somebody else is supposed to be the one to get the song heard. But it's all in service of the song for me.
Totally.
You know?
You got to think of it that way.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many things that can happen. Like you shoot your arrow one way and it's like, wow, it ended up way over here. You got to think it's for the song. It's all for the song.
It's all for the sake of the song. That's right. Well, hey, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me hound you into coming on your podcast.
Oh, no, I love it. And I'm so glad you're here. And I love your story, and I love your music. So I love what you do. You know?
I love what you do. Let's write some songs next year.
Let's do it. All right. That's it. That's the pod. See you later.